Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Ripple CTO says XRP ledger ready to power the future of global financial infrastructure. Okay guys, let's get into it. Absolutely bullish. Okay, so we've got David Schwartz here who has made a post. Real great stuff that he's talking about here, and yeah, I completely agree with him, of course. This is something that, you know, Ripple have been trying to do with XRP ledger from the beginning, and this is something that David Schwartz stated, and yeah, I agree. Like, if you think about it now, like, this is one of those things where, you know, XRP is getting like more attention because of the price jump, the end of the lawsuit, that kind of thing. And obviously, you know, crypto as a whole is starting to get more recognition because you've got the US president who is obviously pro crypto. So it's getting a lot more adoption now, a lot more talk around it. But, you know, Ripple have been doing this for years. Like, that was the whole point of what Ripple intended. It's like how they saw the vision for crypto and XRP, right? So like, this is just them building what they saw, their vision coming to fruition. And so, yeah, like XRP has been in a prime position to power the future of global financial infrastructure. Like, that was basically like its intended purpose, right? So I've got a few points here that David Schwartz has spoke on, so I'm going to cover those and then I'll just give my final thoughts on this. So, noticeable difference between XRPL and most blockchains. Schwartz pointed out that some blockchains rely on permissioned validators, which place control in the hands of a small group or a single entity. While this setup can facilitate compliance and centralized control, it also limits the network's resilience and global reach. On the contrary, he emphasized that the XRPL is public and permissionless by default, which positions it as a core infrastructure for the world's financial system. In addition, Schwartz revealed that the blockchain comes with optional permission features for regulated use cases. Further, the Ripple CTO also highlighted some core features of the XRPL, including the fact that it offers low and predictable fees. Unlike most blockchains, Schwartz said XRPL does not have a separate gas token. According to him, users can pay for transactions using XRP, with the token also serving as a bridge asset for global payments. Yeah, so absolutely in regards to, you know, the validator thing, I know, and this is one of the things that a lot of people get misunderstood about, you know, XRP ledger being centralized because of Ripple holding so many tokens. Look, just because they hold so many tokens, it doesn't make the XRP ledger centralized. That's not how this works. Like, at the end of the day, there's proof of this because there was a point where Ripple wanted to get something put through, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was now, but there was something that they wanted to get put through in regards to an amendment on the XRP ledger, right? And to do this, they have to go through a vote. And so the validators get a say in whether this gets put forward, like, you know, approved or declined. And it actually got declined, right? It actually got declined. So Ripple had to go back and they had to do like amendments and things like that to try and get this thing put in place. So that shows you they don't just get to do what they want to do, right? And this is another thing, right? If, let's just say, Ripple were to become bad actors within, you know, the space and started to abuse XRP, like, the validators can come together and basically phase Ripple out. Like, that can happen. Like, this is what I mean. So, like, it really is a thing of people just got to understand that just because Ripple hold a majority shareholding of the XRP tokens, it doesn't change the decentralized nature of the ledger, right? And so this is where XRP is actually in a good position with regards to people utilizing the network, right? Now, in regards to RippleNet and Ripple payments, yeah, that's centralized because it's owned by a company. Yes, that's of course true. But you've got to understand that RippleNet is a software that's created and owned by the company. The XRP ledger is separate from the software and the company, right? XRP ledger is its own network, right? So this is the difference that people need to understand. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. These kind of features that the XRP has most certainly puts it in a way for, you know, for global finance. And this is, like I say, this is partly what, you know, Ripple envisioned. Like, they wanted payments, global finance, you know, this was their aim. This is what they was building themselves up for. So they've just basically aligned themselves in the right position. So when this does come to fruition, as we are now seeing, Ripple and XRP in a great position to take advantage of that. Okay, newer chains adopting core XRPL features. Moreover, he expressed excitement seeing newer chains adopt certain features inherent in the XRPL, particularly its deterministic finality and proof of authority in brackets POA consensus mechanism. He viewed this trend as evidence of growing alignment in the industry around the need for predictable, reliable settlement for financial use cases. As a co-creator of the XRPL, Schwartz expressed excitement for the network's next phase of innovation. He expects future upgrades to enhance programmability, expand liquidity, and introduce compliance-grade capabilities for institutional use. Okay, so yeah, in regards to the newer chains adopting like the core XRPL features, I kind of like, I get the fact that he's excited in the sense of like, it shows that what we was onto from the beginning is clearly the right path because now other chains are adopting what we've got. But it's kind of like taking their features, right? Like, so I get the excitement of, yeah, we're all on the same page. We all agree that this is what's needed. And, it shows that we was right all along. Like we did make the right moves in terms of, the POA and that kind of stuff. But I kind of would look at it as like, yo, you guys are just stealing our source, man. You're like, this is the stuff that we wanted for our chain, and you guys are just taking it and then, adding it to yours. But, I guess it's just one of those things, man. As they say, nothing is new or original, right? It's usually just like a person's own version of whatever the original thought was. So, I suppose when you think about it, XRP was taken from Bitcoin, right? It's a modified version of Bitcoin. It's an enhanced version of Bitcoin. So you can't really speak too much in that regard. But yeah, at the end of the day, seeing that other chains are adopting like XRP features that's already inherent in the XRP ledger, it just shows you, XRP was ahead of the curve, right? Obviously, these are features that other chains are looking at now and saying, yeah, this is great stuff. Like, this is stuff that we want on our chain as well. So it shows you that the XRP and the XRP ledger do have very strong attributes that networks would want and obviously institutions would want. Looking at as they're saying about having upgrades and things like that, I think that's obviously, that's obviously a positive, needed as well because, if you want the institutions to be coming along, you want it to be as up to date as possible. You want it to be as readily available, as strong as it possibly can be. So, at the end of the day, I think that's a huge positive, which means it's going to bring, more appeal for institutional use. And it's already got a lot of, reasons to be appealing to institutions anyway. As I say, I think the main reason why we haven't got that huge institutional adoption yet is mainly because of regulations. I think that's what's been the real hold up. And so now we're starting to get those things get passed through like the Genius Act and stuff like that. I think, you'll start to see more of this adoption coming through now. So I think it's all really here and ready to go, to be honest with you. So this is really great stuff to see. I'm not going to lie. And I do think like XRP is going to have a very good future, in my opinion, when it comes to financial, the financial sector. I think it will play a big role technology wise. I'm not going to say how big it's going to be because I don't know. Like, I'm not going to act like I know for sure, but I do think it will have it will have its place there. Let me put it that way. So, great stuff to see here. And once again, David Schwartz is dropping some great knowledge and, letting you know what the future can hold. And it's looking very bright for XRP. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.